Welcome to Talking Grit, a Detroit Lions podcast. Powered by the Monroe County Reporters. Here are your hosts, Jason Harwood and Jacob Litton.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Talking Grit. I am Jason Harwood. With me is Jacob Litton. Today, we're going to talk the 53-man roster. We're going to each give our own predictions. I don't know what Jacob's picked. He doesn't know what I've picked. I think we both have Jared Goff in our 53, but we won't know for sure until we each discuss.
We'll find out in a minute here.
Yeah, we will. All right, Jacob, how you doing, man?
Pretty good, man. Back from vacation, back to the grind, back to reality here. About you, how was you got to see the Tigers game?
Saw the Tigers game, perfect weather. We had awesome seats for what I like. We were in the shade the whole game, and it was perfect temperature. We were with section 114, which is out kind of in right field, but we were in the first row of or not, it's like row 37, but it's the last row underneath the awning. And so it's shaded the whole time. It's great. So I love those seats out there, and the sight lines are great. It's good. It's good. Tigers lost. They gave up 6 runs, fought back only to give up the lead. Disappointing, but it is what it is. So
still baseball, still a good time.
It is. It was great. The boys had a good time. Got some good. I got those lemon. I like those lemon it's not like ice cream. It's like a frozen lemonade type thing. I like that. So I got one of those, which was good. So, yep. But I'm glad you're out of the state of Ohio, back here in good old Michigan.
Yes.
And yeah. So how we're going to do this today is we're going to go by each position group. Talk, who's got in the roster. We might give some reasonings why we went the way we did. We'll question the other guy if we don't agree with them, and then either during the position groups or depending on where the conversation goes, we're not going to build. I don't think we're necessarily going to build our 16 player vet squad, because there's a lot of things can happen between then. But I think along the way we're going to say, yeah, I hope this guy slips down to our vet squad or our practice. Dan Campbell calls it the vet squad. It's a practice squad. So that, we'll probably hit that on the way. So Jacob, let's start with quarterback, which could be interesting depending on if you take a 2 or 3. I think 2 is obvious. The third one, we'll see if we're going to leave them on or off. I'm going to let you go first on the quarterbacks. Who you
real quick, just before we jump into quarterbacks, because we got a lot of discussion about the rest of the roster. Do you want to just go over, just mention the special teams guys? Because those are not up for debate. Those 3 players are set because they're the only ones on the roster. So you've got Jake Bates, the kicker, Jack Fox, punter, Hogan Hatton, long snapper. There's not anybody else on the roster that plays those positions. They're all 3 very good players at those positions, so there's no debate or anything. So instantly there's 3 off. So it's, essentially we're making 50 more room. There's room for 50 more guys here.
Yeah, well, last year it was pretty cut and dry with Jake Bates and Jack Fox because they didn't have any competition. But Hogan Hatton had, it was a question whether he was going to make it or not, and he made it. But this year, no competition at all. So yes, you're right. Those 3 are the easiest calls to make on this. Running back was probably the next easiest call, but quarterback, where you at? Who you keeping all 3, or you keeping just the 2?
So in my official final 53 prediction, I have them keeping Jared Goff, Kyle Allen, and that's it. I've got 2 quarterbacks on my final 53. I have them letting Hendon Hooker go. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm right with you. Multiple reasons for that, for me at least, is that number one, Hendon Hooker he needed to show something at all in this preseason, and none of the games were productive at all. In fact, he was more destructive than productive, giving the ball away, not leading to any touchdown drives the whole preseason. You could make all the excuses you want about the offensive line or whatever, but Kyle Allen, especially after the first game, he made it work. So Hendon just did not do enough. His legs were not enough. Is not enough for me to want to keep him on the roster. So yes, that roster spot is also too valuable. There's other players that I want to keep on this team. Now, here's a question for you. This is the more interesting question to me because I think it's pretty obvious about those two. Do you want him on the practice squad, or are you just ready to be done with Hendon?
Yeah, so I like Hendon Hooker. I just think for whatever reason it's not working out. And I think it was very telling that Dan Campbell offered that up as well and just said, maybe is it a change of scenery that he needs? Is it, is there no more development? Maybe Hendon needs to go to Baltimore behind like Lamar Jackson. Maybe he needs to go to, Philadelphia, Arizona. Maybe he needs to go with like a mobile quarterback and a different kind of offense and see if he's able to pick that up and do that better. I would not be opposed to keeping Hendon on the practice squad, and I can't say I would be overly like just absolutely shocked if he made the final 53. It's just the way things are shaping up and everything. I think it's probably best just to cut him loose now. But where's your thought? I mean, do you want him on the practice squad? Are you ready to call it quits?
I don't want him on the field for the Lions this season. So, however, if we get to there's some value outside. I don't know how he is in that room. Is he helping Jared Goff? I mean, I would rely on Jared Goff to tell me, like, hey, is Hendon scouting well for me? Is he doing those type of things? Then I would keep him on there. Obviously, he knows our scheme and everything like that. If we're going to pick up, which we are going to have to pick up, a third QB, I would like someone that offers some mobility like Hendon so that you could simulate some of the stuff that when you're facing like a Caleb Williams or, any of the running quarterbacks that we're going to have on this schedule, Lamar. I mean, there's obviously no 1-to-1 on Lamar, but, just having someone that can run outside the pocket, show our defense something different, that would be useful. The question is, do you think he makes it as a practice squad? If he gets cut, do you think he gets picked up?
Do I think a different team takes him?
Yeah. Do you think like the Saints?
I don't know. Not through waivers.
Not through waivers.
I think other teams would explore picking him up. I don't know that they would pick him up through waivers.
Yeah. I'm curious how that would work too.
I mean, with this value of his contract right now, I don't have it in front of me, but I think it's like 1.4 or something like that. I mean, if they cut him loose, you can probably get him for way less than that. And I mean, if a team's like, oh, maybe we get him to develop, are they really missing out if they don't pick him up on waivers and somebody else does? I just don't think, the market is not going to be exploding, but he does have value. It's not that he doesn't have value, but, I just don't know how that would play out for him.
He's on someone's roster at some point this season. Maybe not the 53, but he's on someone's practice squad. Someone is giving him a chance. Someone thinks they can fix him. Someone wants to see what's up. But I'm not against it coming to Detroit. Kyle Allen, if we get to any third string quarterback, say we brought back Jake Fromm or whoever, we bring back, we'd be in trouble anyway. So it doesn't really matter to me if we bring him back or not. He doesn't seem like he's bad on the roster or anything like that. It's just a matter, and he's going to be relatively cheap. I wouldn't be against bringing him back, but also if he goes to another team, I'm not very upset about it. All right. I'll move on to running back here. I think this is like very, very cut and dry. Jahmyr Gibbs, Dave Montgomery, obviously. Then Craig is number 3 and Sione Vaki 4. I can't imagine it going any other way, but you agree with that?
Yes, I have the same 4. Gibbs, Demo, Craig Reynolds, Sione Vaki. Although I do if we're just going to talk about it, whenever I'd like Sailors. I think that he's shown enough where he would be the practice squad running back.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. I would like to see Sailors move into the practice squad. He had some nice runs. He just seems like he's a good fit. He didn't seem to dance around a lot in the backfield. It was like make a decision and get upfield, and I like that.
Yes, right, for sure.
Yeah, that's a pretty easy one. Wide receiver, where it could get very interesting. Obviously, we're keeping J-Mo, Khalif, Tim Patrick, Amon-Ra, Tesla. So those are the 5 that we're going to keep. Are you keeping more than 5?
I am keeping more than 5. Are you?
Are you keeping more than 6?
I am keeping more than 6.
All right. I am right with you. So obviously we know who those are. Why don't you go tell everybody who else we're keeping?
So first, it would be surprising, but I can't say that I wouldn't understand or get if Tim Patrick is cut in final cut downs. I don't think he will be, and I've got him on mine. but I don't think it would be overly like, I could see why the thought process would happen that Tim Patrick is expendable. I don't have him like that. I don't think it's going to be, but I just want to put that out there. Is I don't, it's not one of those like, what are the Lions doing?
I'm pretty sure Tim Patrick's contract is like fully guaranteed. So there's like no monetary reason to do that.
It's not a very big contract, but yes, right.
No, but I mean, if they got cut, it'd be losing all that money. And I just don't see that happening. I mean, I'd rather have him out there than Lovett or Meeks at this point. Maybe that'll
Would you rather have him out there than Tesla?
It's a great question.
Oh, well, and time will tell here in a couple weeks. Anyway, sorry. Anyway,
no,
Amon-Ra, J-Mo, Tim Patrick, Khalif, Tesla. I have them keeping Lovett and Meeks.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I was keeping Meeks regardless. Lovett was my 7th. Were you in the same?
Yes.
That was, you're trying to decide. Yeah. Now, it wouldn't shock me if we didn't keep one of those two, but I'd be shocked if we didn't keep at least one. And
yes,
I agree. Then they're hoping that the other guy gets to the practice squad. Lovett, either one of those guys, I think Meeks will get picked up before Lovett, just because Lovett hasn't shown too much in the last couple weeks. I mean, he got tons of targets the first game, but then he had multiple drops in that first game and the second game. So,
if you go back and look at these targets, technically, yes, they're drops, but they're not drops in the sense like where J-Mo has a ball in his hands and just can't come down with it. Most of these things for Lovett are, that one, the interception kind of got ripped away by the defensive back. I think that was probably the worst of them. So they're not, I don't think his hands are a question, as far as what we've seen so far. But then you also, if you go on the opposite with Meeks, he's had 10 catches in the preseason. I want to say 4 of those have been wide open. Like nobody's within like 6-7 yards. Now, is that his route running? Maybe. Is that, miscommunication from the defense? Doesn't matter. It's not his fault. But Meeks has put more out there than Lovett. And that's why, if the thought process here is we can only keep 6, I think you cut Lovett because he's more likely to make it through and get back on the practice squad.
Okay. I still think they're going to keep them all. They're all, special teams. Dave Phipp has said, they all excel at special teams, and he hasn't had that in his time here. So I think that's, when you look before, they've kept either 4 or 5 wide receivers. It's because of that situation. Because when you start getting down to Lovett and Meeks, they're definitely going to have to be on special teams. Even Tesla is going to be on special teams. He's good at it, but they're also going to have him playing on special teams, which also gets them active on game day. And, they can be added to the offensive scheme because they're going to be active as opposed to being inactive sitting on the sideline. All right, tight end. I think this is pretty straightforward. I have 3. I'll start out first. Shane Zylstra, Sam Laporta, Brock Wright. Zach Horton is probably the only one that I could see you picking, but did you go with 2 or 3 or 4?
Yeah, I've got the same 3. That was a pretty easy one for me. I think the bigger question would be, do we try to get Horton on the practice squad? Because they gave Horton every chance. They moved him around, had him at fullback. They, were putting him out different things. He, unfortunately made quite a few mistakes during these preseason games. So I definitely don't think he's done enough to get a roster spot, but maybe he's earned that practice squad, at least like an extended look, help him in practice. Somebody that could maybe eventually be bumped up barring injury or something. But I'm not even 100% positive about that.
Yeah, I think they try to give him. They moved him all over the field. They were trying to give him, I don't think. It would have been a long shot for him to make over Shane Zylstra. I think, unless Zylstra just slipped and he played how we expect Shane Zylstra to play, right? So I think they're going to try to get Zach Horton on the practice squad. If they didn't care about it at all, they played either Gunnar Oaks or Steven Silianos out there. And not give Zach Horton a chance. One thing I forgot to do in wide receivers, was there any of those like Tom Kennedy, Ronnie Bell, Malik Taylor, or Jacoby Keeney James that you'd want to get there on the practice squad?
Ronnie Bell for sure.
Yeah, okay. That's where I was at.
He would be the only other one that you might be talking about, but I think Ronnie Bell's value would be more as a receiver and less as special teams. I think that's why he doesn't make the cut. But he's been around.
Kennedy's on. You think Kennedy's in there though, right?
What, in the discussion for the practice squad?
Yeah.
How long's Kennedy been here?
7 years.
Kennedy's a perennial practice squad.
Yeah.
Right. No, yes. Like he, I don't think he's going anywhere.
Yeah.
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 I mean, you need a couple of receivers in the practice squad. That's not.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So
I just
think
thought Tom
I
Kennedy was
definitely want Ronnie Bell. Yeah.
Yes.
No. Yes. All right. Let's move on to this offensive line. Quite a few names on here. I'm assuming that most of ours are going to match up, but I'll. So we got our starting five, obviously, Tate Ratledge, Christian Mahogany, Penei Sewell, Taylor Decker, and Graham Glasgow, who we found out Graham Glasgow, the injury is not a thing to worry about, that he left practice. Dan Campbell said he's pretty much good to go. So we're good with those five. I'm going to, let's see, how many are you keeping total with
That's
the five?
What I was just
going to
ask you. So total offensive line, I have 9.
I have 9 as well.
Okay.
So
they
have not differed
a lot
yet,
of debate towards the. No, we haven't actually.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right.
There was a lot of debate towards the end, these last couple spots for me, but all right. So outside of the 5, I have. Do you want to go 1 for 1, or do you want me to name all 4? Let's just do 1 for 1.
Just
see
name
if we match.
Name one, and yep.
Okay. So I have them keeping Dan Skipper.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. I have them keeping Manu.
Yes.
Those are the 2 that I felt better about. The last 2, I've got them keeping Kingsley.
Yes.
And then the last one I have them keeping was Awashika.
Yes. I'm
we got the same
with you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I could see Jamarco Jones was interesting for me just because I don't know if they would trust Manu being in, bringing him in if Skipper, 2 tackles were to be hurt.
Right.
And Moody was hard for me to leave off. The rest of them, that was pretty much automatic for me.
Moody was
Tristan
a question mark.
Colon,
that's what I was just going to say.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go ahead.
No, but
Go ahead.
If Tristan Colon is going to be starting on the PUP list, it's assuming that he's, hurt. He's not going to be able to play, or are they? I'm not sure if they are just straight out cutting him loose. I think he's going to be PUP, and that's why the spot's going to be there. But Miles Frazier also is not going to be ready, so somebody else is going to be on the PUP list, I'm sure.
Yeah,
those are the only
I don't
people.
think they could put him on the PUP because he actually practiced. I think they got to put him on the IR, and they haven't done it yet. So Cologne. So they can do. So Miles Frazier did not play in the preseason, so he could stay on the PUP list, which means he's automatically out for the first 4 games, and then into the season we could decide to either put him on IR or not. So he's going to stay on the PUP. Tristan Colon, however, can't because he practiced. So. And they haven't moved him yet. And I know he was out at practice with a big elbow brace on, moving around, but he wasn't doing individuals or anything. He was just out kind of with the trainers. They'll probably put him on. They could designate 2 IR positions to come back at cutdown day. So they don't have to use. The old rule is you used to have to put him on the 53 and then the next day you put him on IR and then you could bring a guy you cut back. Now they've changed the rules and you're allowed to on cut down day put 2 guys you could on IR that day, and you can bring them back. I think they're part of your 8. You're up to your 8 that you can bring back from IR through the year. So I think Tristan Colon is a candidate for that position where designate to come back, depending on the injury. Because if they were going to cut him, they would have done that already. Or if they were going to put him on the season-ending IR, they would have done that already. Just so they could have got another guy in there to play in the preseason, essentially.
Right.
So any of these guys, I wouldn't mind seeing Moody or Neese make it to the practice squad. I don't know if I saw enough from Mason Miller. I know he's undrafted free agent, maybe. But Jamarco Jones, I think they'll want to keep him on the practice squad.
That's the same thought process I have. Jamarco Jones, Moody. Michael Neese, though, I don't think. The only thing is they did give him snaps at center. I think he's been beat out. I don't think he's been performing at center, but they have been moving him around and having him do multiple things. And we know how much they value that, so maybe they do bring him along the practice squad as well, just for that continuity. I mean, it depends on who else is cut and who else is out there, too, for this, shuffling around for the practice squad. But it's somebody that was here last year as well.
Yeah. Before we move on to the defensive backs, a shout out to Cody, who's on chat. Says he's starting college tomorrow, so going back for a second year of college. So it's good to hear from you, longtime listener. Cody's been right from the beginning, so that's awesome. have another chat, but it's just under DET. So obviously it means Detroit. He wants the son of Dominic Rail. I want to keep it in the family here. Dylan, he wants that quarterback to be on the Lions. And Jacob's already responded to him. But yeah, thanks for guys for
I'd be
entering
okay
the
with
chat.
that.
Yeah. If anyone else is out there, comment on it. We'll shoot. We'll work you into the conversation here. We appreciate everyone that's joined us live right now. We're up to 10 for us, so that's really good right now. So I appreciate everyone. It's kind of late on a Sunday night, so we appreciate you guys hanging out with us.
Absolutely.
All right. I think we talked about before the show. It's really hard to list cornerbacks and safeties separately because of the versatility of the guys that we have here. So we're just going to list defensive backs. So that's going to be all your safeties and your cornerbacks together. I have quite a few, actually. I have 10 in this list. Where are you at?
I have 11.
Whoa. All right. We're going to differ here. So that's cool. All right. Good. We get our first one. So obviously we both have DJ Reed, Terrion Arnold, Amik Robertson, Rock Ya-Sin. I would say that those four, and then obviously Kirby and Branch, 5, 6. Yes. And I'm sure we got some overlap going on there, but I know those are in. You did the last one. I'll go one by one. You tell me if you got them on there or not. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Avonte Maddox.
Yes.
Okay. Rock Ya-Sin.
Yep.
Khalil Dorsey.
Yes.
All right. And this is when it's going to get interesting.
Yeah.
Lawrence Strickland.
I have him making the squad.
All right. This was a last second change for me. After we did the preseason pod, and right now I changed that and I added Lawrence Strickland. The last one I have making it is Eric Hallett.
I have Eric Hallett as well.
All right. Can I guess your last one? Is it Canal?
No. So hang on, because I miscalculated.
Yeah.
So I have the same 10 as you.
Okay.
I thought that I had 11 and I have 10. No, because I had them split cornerbacks and safeties, and then when I combined them, I just messed up the count.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So we have the exact same roster so far, which is very surprising to me.
Yeah, no, we are definitely different.
Yeah, last year
it was changing. Kennelly did not make either of our 53. I think I know the reason why. I know why the reason why for me, but I'm curious why he didn't make your 53. What was your thought process on that?
I gave a lot of thought to it, and he obviously showed value on special teams. It really comes down to him and Strickland. Strickland's been here a little bit longer. Strickland had a better game in the last preseason. And honestly, like 100% honestly, with my own two eyes, when I'm there, when I'm watching practice, just Kennelly looks like he's not fast enough. He looks like he's just not quite, like maybe his head is where he's supposed to be and he knows his assignment. He's just not fast enough getting there. There's just something about it where he just seems like he's a little bit slower. And I know, because also when we were there, we heard Shep getting on Strickland, yelling at Strickland very badly.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But Strickland showed out in the last game. And I think if it's coming down to those two, I would keep Strickland. Did you have a similar mindset, or what was your reason for you think Kennelly missing out?
I agree with you there. I guess that wasn't part of my mind, is that I think we could get him on the practice squad. I think he is undrafted, right? So he's very raw. They want to get him.
I don't think he put anything out there. Like for someone to pick him up,
and I know that's... Yeah, I know he's a local kid. I know that we could get him on the practice squad, and it was really close between him and Strickland. And I get what you're saying about with your own eyes and things like that. But sometimes, going about where Kennelly was repping, sometimes he'd get up with the number ones because of Kirby's injury, and he was always repping ahead of Strickland. Now, in the preseason game, they were repping together, and I'm wondering if they wanted to see them side by side. And Strickland showed out. Kennelly did not. Not that Kennelly played necessarily bad, it's just he didn't play up to Strickland's level, and I think either one of those guys probably hits the practice squad. I mean, I don't think they'll get picked up, but I think out of the two, Kennelly has less tape, and being an undrafted guy, I know for sure he can make it. So that's why I have it that way. I like to keep him on the roster. Obviously, the Lions like what they have. See what we could develop.
Yeah. No, I don't think either one of them, like if you're going to keep Kennelly and cut Strickland, I don't think Strickland gets picked up by a different team either. Whoever you're keeping, if you're keeping one of them, the other one's going to end up on the practice squad. And if they value Kennelly on special teams more than Strickland, maybe that's where they make that move. But, that's just how I feel, is that Strickland has the upper hand right now.
Yeah. I would say one thing that I would say, I want to know your reasoning on Eric Hallett, because I struggle with him a little bit too. It wasn't necessarily I was going to keep another defensive back over. It's whether I was going to keep him or not. And he's probably my last defensive back that I was going to keep. So why did you end up keeping Eric Hallett?
Hallett got so much work with the ones. It seemed like he was just the next man up for whenever they needed. Like, he was playing safety, he was playing corner, he was moving around. In practice, I mean, he was right out there with the ones for most of the time. And then even though he was playing in the preseason, he had up and down preseason. I don't think it was, anything off the chart. Like, he's definitely, we got to keep him, we can't afford to lose him or anything like that. I just feel like he did enough to earn a spot on the team.
Yeah. I think his versatility gets him in here. He could play anywhere, like you said, outside corner. They had him in at nickel. They had him at safety. And when he's playing that far, when you're that far down on the roster, it's nice to have a guy that can play any one of those positions because, Branch is versatile. So, like, if you feel more comfortable with Hallett at safety instead of nickel, you could move, like if Meek got hurt, you can move Branch up to nickel, put Hallett there. Or, if, say, DJ Reed or Terran gets hurt, you move Meek outside, then you could still do the same thing, move Branch at nickel or have Hallett play nickel. However, the Lions feel that they're better matched up. That's why I like having in there, because a lot of the other guys, like, Branch is versatile. Rock Yassin, they've had him playing. I mean, I still think his primary position is corner, but it's been pretty much safety in all these preseason games because I think they wanted to get him as much snaps because he showed early on that first preseason game he could play back there. And I think they were just like, we're going to get as much reps in this guy. We know he could play corner. Let's get him at safety. I don't think they view him as a safety. You got Avonte Maddox who could play all three of those positions. He could play outside. He could play nickel. He could play safety. And, Khalil Dorsey's coming off an injury. So I think you're going to want, especially early on, you're going to have Khalil in there for special teams. But I don't know if he's necessarily a cornerback you're going to have coming off right now just because he's come back from an injury. Maybe later on in the season after he gets more reps and stuff, you might bring him up to speed there. But I like having that 10th defensive back for the versatility.
Yes. No, 100% agree.
I assume that's Brian from Passing Time. He's in the chat. So what's up, Passing Time? Check out their podcast. He was on last week. Got lots of compliments about Brian. He was an awesome guest. So
cool,
we get lucky sometimes with these guests. Actually, most of the time we get very lucky. I think Dan's on here, and Dan Pass says, you know what, Strickland might get picked up by AG or Ben just because of their familiarity. Yeah, he's definitely got more exposure. Strickland, he was in camp with them last year throughout the season. They never saw Kennelly, so you're right, and that's 100. It's a good point. All right,
if you're Strickland, though, real quick, if you're Strickland,
yeah,
I mean, I'm assuming that he's not talking about through waivers, but if you're Strickland, would you rather go to New York with AG, or would you rather hang out with the Lions on the practice squad where you've already been? I'm sure he doesn't want to leave. I'm sure he'd rather stay on the practice squad and get what he can here, even if there's a chance of more playing time for whatever reason in New York.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. It's an interesting thought. I'm not sure. I mean, he definitely feel more comfortable here as long as he doesn't mind Shep yelling at him some more. I think he'd want to come back to the squad. All right, man. Let's move on to linebackers here. I have 6. I assume that you're going to have 6 as well.
I've got the same 6. This one was one of the easier ones for me, too.
I agree. Go ahead. Name your 6.
So I've got ABC, Anzalone, Barnes, Jack Campbell. And then behind them, Grant Stewart, Zach Cunningham, Trevor Nowaski.
Yep. You mean kick returner Grant Stewart?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that's what I'm at too.
Kick return.
Yeah, those. I'm happy with that room too. I really think that's. Yes. I mean, and we don't even have Malcolm Rodriguez, who's going to start on the PUP list. It sounds like October-ish for him. I mean, he was running around at practice, not doing any individuals or anything like that. So he's going to be on, and then that'll be interesting. And I think Zach Cunningham might feel the brunt of that when Malcolm comes back. But if Zach's playing well, we won't have to rush Malcolm back, and we can just have some, take our time with him.
Right. Yeah, it sounds like Malcolm and Aleem are both ahead of schedule. So, knock on wood, hopefully sooner rather than later. But yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, if Malcolm's coming in, Cunningham's probably the one getting the boot just because, the position, right? Because where Nowaski's at, where Nowaski can play and what he can do, even though I think Zach's probably a better linebacker than him, Trevor is able to move around. Zach Cunningham was a nice surprise because when they first signed him, I really thought this was just a veteran presence, somebody for camp, maybe somebody, positive influence on the younger linebackers or everything like that. Zach Cunningham came to play.
He did. Yeah, well, he was getting reps with the ones when Alex was out, at the beginning of practice when the contract thing was going on and,
right.
And he was, hurt or whatever the case was be. And he was definitely showing out. They put pads on and he's great run stuffer. So yeah, he fits in real well. He seems to be all over the ball. And then Grant Stewart is, he's that guy. So he's going to be a fan favorite for sure. All right. Defensive line is next, which
and we both have to
have the same.
Right.
Yeah, we have to but it's whether we kept the same guys.
Right.
And
same number of people, but
yeah, there could be a question here. So I'll go, Aleem's obviously on there, Aiden's on there. Al-Qadim Muhammad, I'm sure you. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Why did I say Aleem? Aleem's going to go on the PUP list. I meant Aiden and Marcus Davenport are going to be, obviously they're starters. I'm sure you got there.
Yep.
And then you have DJ Reader and Tyleek.
Yes.
For sure. I know you got those. Roy Lopez, I'm assuming, is on there.
Right.
All right. And then Al-Qadim Muhammad.
Al-Qadim Muhammad, yes.
Okay.
But I would say that, so after those 5, I would say that's where it gets interesting. But I think Al-Qadim earned his spot. So now we've got two people left.
Yep. So I went with Pat O'Connor. I'm assuming you got him.
I did.
Yeah. All right. So this last one, this could go a lot of different ways. Actually, we got 2 more. I got 2 more guys here. So I got Nate Lynn. I kept Nate Lynn. Did you keep Nate?
I did keep Nate Lynn.
Okay. Makai Wingo is the other guy that I kept.
So I had Makai Wingo on this list, but then I was thinking that he was going to be injured, so he's off. So that might be why my numbers are off, is that I only have 52 instead of 53.
Okay.
But I did have Wingo on there, but full disclosure, his name is not on here right now. I erased him just because of the injury.
Okay, I appreciate you being honest. All right, so then,
But we essentially have the exact same 53-man roster.
Yes. So Keith Cooper did not make your 53. He's definitely going to be a guy that we're going to want on the practice squad. And the reason I know he's repped so high, but I think we could get him through on the 53, or on the practice squad, no problem. So that's my reasoning. And I thought Nayland played well enough during the preseason that he deserved a shot. Uku was pretty close to him though. I mean, Uku had a pretty good preseason too. Problem, he has more sacks than Nate Lynn, I think, but Nate Lynn just other than those plays, just seemed to be in the right spot a lot, played really hard.
If you told me that Uku made the team, I would not be surprised.
I would not be surprised too.
I know I said this before and you didn't agree, but if Pat O'Connor got cut, I also don't know that I would be overly shocked by that.
Okay. They like him. He did not show too much. They really like him, and he could play up and down the line. And I think initially we're going to need that. He could also be one of those guys you cut, and then you have a deal with him later on if there's something going on. I mean, so Wingo is the interesting thing, right? Like he hasn't played. He was hurt all of camp. They brought him back, which I thought the timing of them bringing him back was weird. Because if they'd have just left him on the PUP, they could have just put him on they could have either cut him off PUP or decided to designate him later on to come back. But to me, they thought that they brought him back is probably why they're going to keep him. And the fact they can get Cooper on the practice squad, I think they probably feel pretty comfortable with that. I do. So that's why I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I don't think anybody is going to steal Keith Cooper from us. Not that I think that they would be taking Nate Lynn or O'Connor either, but And this is also just assuming that Pascal is out, that he's not going to be taking up a roster spot. And I know online, the rumors are swirling that Za'Darius is going to be signed tomorrow before the 53. So this is also not taking that into consideration. How would you feel if Za'Darius signed tomorrow?
I'm okay with that. My question for you, and I think the interesting question is who you kicking off here? Would it be Lynn? Would it be Wingo or O'Connor? If Za'Darius gets in, we got to kick one of these guys off. Who would you do?
I have not seen. So we haven't seen Wingo at all. We've seen that Nate Lynn is developing and everything like that. But honestly, I think I would get rid of O'Connor.
You get rid of O'Connor? I don't know. He could play up and down the line. That's where I'd be a little bit worried about. The thing is that, I think you could get rid of Nate Lynn and get him on the practice squad and then bring him up. I think you could safely do that. I don't know about Wingo, if you could do that or not. I don't think you could be in second year. The other option is that it wouldn't even be a defensive line you kicked off. You cut Lovett. You go down to 6 wide receivers.
Right,
you could do that if you bring Za'Darius in. And that is definitely on the table for me, to be honest with you. I think, honestly, though, I'd probably risk losing Nate Lynn, try to get him on the practice squad, and I want to keep Pat O'Connor. I know he's not anything special, but I just think his versatility on that line, especially early when Aleem's hurt. Now, when Aleem comes back, Pat O'Connor probably becomes very expendable.
Yes.
Because then you can start moving Tyleek, and you can do a lot of different things when that happens. That'll be interesting. I want to see Aleem and Tyleek next to each other, because I think Tyleek starts getting some run at the nose, especially around that time. He'll be 8 weeks in, because he can. I mean, if anything in that preseason game shows that he could take a double team on and just stand it still, and not get rocked back. I saw one play that he got rocked back. For the most part, he's just clogging out double teams. He's going to be him and Aleem together are going to be something special. They're going to be, the run defense is going to be obviously super solid, but I think they both have some juice to get upfield too, especially if you give Tyleek, a year of seasoning.
Right. Yeah. No, excited about the prospects for sure. I just need everybody to be healthy at the same time.
Yeah. Wow. I am shocked that we have the same 53. That's pretty crazy.
I was not expecting that at all, because there's quite a few things with toss-ups for me.
Mm-hmm.
I know last year, I can't remember right now, but I feel like we were
I think we started off right away. I think you kept Sudfeld. I think that was
Jared,
you're right. Sudfeld and Hooker. So it was right away we were differing. And I think at tight end I kept Parker Hesse. I remember, that's
called the Hogan Hatton thing,
Zach Horton thing. So it was interesting. It was an interesting exercise, and I mean, I literally between the hour between when we ended the last podcast and that's when I switched from Strickland and Kennelly.
Yeah.
I was almost had that, but no, I'm happy with this roster. I mean, overall, it's a very good. Obviously, the starters I'm really happy with. The offensive line is going to be. It'll be. We won't have seen them together yet, other than on the practice field. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes right away, their chemistry and how it builds. I would tend to everybody have caution, especially right away, that it'll take some time. I think it's going to take longer time in the passing game than the run game. I think the run game is I think the lines will lean on that early because they know the run blocking will be there, especially in the right side, Panay and Tate. I'm pretty confident that that's going to provide a lot of big holes for Jameer and David to run through.
We hope so. I think we'll be all right. 2 weeks from today.
Yes, it's coming up very quickly, and not quick enough though, to be honest with you. This next week is going to be we're going to get because we'll get everything, and then it'll be a long time, and then we're forced to watch the Cowboys, and we got to watch the Cowboys on Thursday opener against the Eagles. I'll be a Cowboys fan.
Will Micah Parsons play?
I want the Eagles. Yeah, I am so glad that we don't have that drama right now going into the season.
Did you see the team that's rumored to have the strongest deal for him?
Don't even say it. I know who you're talking about, but yes, I've seen it. If that happens, that'll make me sick to my stomach. It's the Packers, in case anybody out there doesn't know who Jacob's talking about. They're
rumored to have a very strong offer on the table, and if Jerry Jones does get sick of Parsons and decides just to deal him, the Packers are right there waiting, and that would suck.
What would you give up for Wingo? Chat, what would you give up? What would you give up for Micah Parsons? What do you think the Packers should give up, or what do you think is a reasonable trade? Not that what the Lions will give up, because that's not going to happen. But what do you think is a reasonable trade for Micah Parsons? How many firsts? A player? More than 2 firsts? What do you think, Jacob?
I think you got to give 2 firsts and then another like mid-round pick, or throw a player on top of it.
Yeah.
Something I wouldn't do.
Very minimum. I mean, I don't want to do it either, but because not only are you giving up all those assets, you're going to have to give him, he's probably going to get more than Myles Garrett, right? And so you're giving up all these assets and then a lot of money. So like for the Lions, it doubly doesn't make sense. There's no way we could afford that. And the fact is, like, we need all those draft picks that we can get to develop players, because we have to pay our own guys. I mean, would it be awesome to have Micah Parsons and Aiden Hutchinson on the field together? Oh, yeah, that would be pretty amazing. That'd be Madden type stuff. Not going to happen. But I also don't want to see him in the division. I don't want to face him twice a year.
Yes, exactly. No, that's not realistic for the Lions to get anybody else. I mean, the only other player we might add is Za'Darius. We'll leave it at that. There's no Trey Hendrickson. There's no Micah coming. I don't want either of them. You're right. The idea, build the draft picks. Hopefully we keep drafting, keep hitting on draft picks, and then we've got starters playing on rookie contracts. Pay the ones that we have now, and I just don't want anything to throw a wrench in all that we've built so far.
Exactly. When we have to pay Aiden. When do you think Aiden's going to get the paycheck? Do you think it's going to be before week 1? Or do you think it's going to be in the season? You don't think it's going to be?
I don't know at this point. I don't think, I know that Aiden has said that he's very hands-off with this. He's not focusing. He's not worried about that. He's letting his agent, he's letting the team do that. He's not focusing on that at all. He's just playing football. So that part is nice. But then is it going to be news to Aiden when it happens too?
Yeah, that's interesting. He doesn't want it to. He said he doesn't want to focus on that. He doesn't want to break any of his concentration, and I get that, and that's fine with me. I can't imagine they're far off in their numbers, and I
don't know how they're not. If it's just waiting on, if his agent wants to wait for Micah to sign or wants to wait to see what happens with Hendrickson, either way, that's not good for us. Then the fact that it hasn't happened already is not good for us, because that means the price is going up. In my opinion, it's not getting any cheaper.
Well, I'd love to get it done before Trey, and that's why I get it done before the season, Trey and Micah. And because
ideally, right, it would have happened weeks ago.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. My feeling is that since it hasn't happened, it's probably they're holding out and waiting for those guys to get signed. Because whether, it's gonna, we have Aiden next year, automatically, and then we would franchise him. We haven't used a franchise. When is the last time we used a franchise tag? It had to be a while. I have
no idea.
I can't remember the last time that we ever used a franchise tag. I know we used it on Sue. I know we used it on Sewell, obviously, in the early 2010s. But I can't.
According to Google AI, the last time the Lions used the franchise tag was in 2018 for Ezekiel Ansah.
Ansah. Really? Wow.
So they applied the tag in 2018 after his 12-sack season, and then he got injured during the tag year.
Yep. And then it was just never the same after that.
Yeah, right. No, man. It's unfortunate for him.
Yeah, so it's been a while. Because we're not going to use it. I can't think of anyone we've used it on next year.
I hate the franchise tag, man.
Well, no one likes it. I get why you have it. They wanted to keep players from jumping around, but the players don't like it because then they're locked into that 1 year.
It's a fully guaranteed 1 year, but
it is. But like, if you're a player, like say Ansah, what happened to him, right? So like he didn't get a long-term deal, and then he got injured, and so like his career just collapsed after that. And that if they didn't have the franchise tag, then he would have signed with someone for a multi-year deal and probably pocketed more money, I would imagine.
Right. No, you're right.
Passing time, I'm sure it's Brian over there, says Lions are smart. They're doing their best to get that done before Trey and Micah. He said the number, he said it'll be ugly at first. I'm assuming the number means, how much we're paying Aiden, but it'll age well. And you look at like a contract like Penei Sewell, it's already aging well. Amon-Ra's aging well. Getting those guys signed. Yeah. Goff we will resign, next year's cap, not this season, but next year's cap number is ugly, but we'll wrap that up. But overall, his contract average per year, yeah, definitely is in line with how much production Goff has given us. And I wanted to debate some of this 53 with you, but didn't have to. We agreed this year, which is frankly,
I don't know how to feel about it because I was like, Jason's going to come with the most stupidest, the dumbest opinions, and then they match mine. So now it's like, oh.
Now your opinion,
I'm losing my touch.
Opinion of yourself went down.
Right.
Your opinion of yourself went down. Yeah, you're
my
like, oh god.
My self-esteem took a hit.
You've been hanging out. Yeah, you've been, hanging out with me too long. One thing that we could discuss here is, we kind of mentioned it, but so I think Miles Frazier is going to be on the PUP. I think Malcolm Rodriguez PUP, Josh Pascal PUP, Aleem McNeil PUP, and then I have Tristan Colon and Ahmed Hassanin going on the IR. To designate a return. Those are the two players I think are going to get designated to return.
Are who? Say it again.
Hassanin and Cologne.
Okay.
Because they both played, so they have to be, we can't put them on the PUP list. The other guys never played in the preseason. And so I think the PUP, you have to be on for a minimum of 4 weeks. So, which is no big deal for Malcolm or McNeil. And then after that, I think you have like a 5-week evaluation, and then you have to designate them to come back. And then they could practice with you 3 weeks. That clock starts 21 days after you bring them back. Dan, I see your question. I'm going to get to you in a second. Then you have 21 days for them to practice whether to keep them on, put them on the IR, or they have to come on the act or on the 53. So that's what I got. Do you same thing with Hassanin and Cologne? Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Or
nope, that's right on par with what I was thinking.
Yep. Dan Pask asks, Maurice Norris, what do you think happens with him? And that's something that I meant to ask you earlier. So thank you, Dan, for asking the question. What do you think?
When I made mine, I anticipated that Maurice Norris is probably going to be on the IR.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, we don't know what his injury is, right? Other than just he had a concussion. He's in concussion protocol, but he's been doing some drills. He's been working. So, I mean, it's not
he had
like
his helmet on.
Right. Yeah, so it's not like he can't come back. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if they would outright. I mean, at this point, they could just release him, right? Move him to the practice squad. But I'm not sure. Norris was here last year. He was also somebody fighting for a roster spot. It was not like his spot was guaranteed before the injury happened.
There's a couple things that they could do. They could just outright cut him, and then he'd go through, and then we could try to get him on the practice squad. They could designate him with an injury and try to do an injury settlement, and then say they designate it. If they did that, then the Lions could re-sign him, but Maurice Norris would get a payout for however they said the injury would last. They say it's last 8 weeks. After 8 weeks, Maurice Norris is signed. He could sign with anyone but the Lions. The Lions have to wait 3 weeks after the injury settlement timeline. So if it was 8 weeks in this example, we couldn't sign him until week 11. Brian at Passing Time says they heard the Lions offered him an injury settlement and Mo turned it down. Maybe he'll change his mind after we tell him that he's not going to make the 53. I don't know. There's a lot of things, but I haven't heard that, Brian, so I don't know the source on that. If that is happening, if that did happen and he did turn it down, that is interesting.
That may just be him wanting to come back and wanting to play right now.
Yes. And that could have been it. You're right. And like saying, I'm ready to come back, but I don't.
For all we know, he showed up at the facility 2 days after that and said, give me my helmet. I'm out there. And then NFL said, no. Mandatory. Is it mandatory 2 weeks or 10 days?
I don't know.
The concussion?
I No, it's got to be. I think it's like, I don't know. Well, Hendon Hooker came back the week after. Remember last year in the preseason, the Giants game, and then he came back and played the Chiefs. So I think you have like a 3-day. I mean, there's a multiple protocol that happens over the week, but yeah, you can come back within the week, but you pretty much have to be showing no symptoms or anything like that. I think Mo is going to end up on the practice squad. I think that's how it's going to work, unless things change and he goes, decides to take an injury settlement. Mo, and you're right, that might be a good read on it too. Mo was probably like, I can get out there, I could play, and the Lions are like, we're not going to risk this. The optics on this are terrible. If they were to let him come out and play, and then he got hurt worse after how it looked, they would not look good for the Lions or the NFL, frankly, to put a player out there like 2 or 3 weeks after, an ambulance takes him off the field, and you're wondering if the guy's paralyzed or whatever.
Right. Yeah, Norris is well liked in the locker room. He's friends with all the other defensive backs and everything. I'm sure he wants to be here. He wants a shot. He wants to play. So, yeah, that's tough.
And maybe that's why he turned it down too, because like maybe he just wanted to stay with the team, and then he's hoping to just get down to the practice squad and then be able to play whenever. But we'll see how it lines up. I mean, we'll probably get a pretty good read on it. So now I want to also remind everybody. So the 53 will be. It's got to be known officially at 4:00. It does not release like immediately at 4:00. It's not like there's a thing out. Usually it'll go through the transaction wires, and officially we know something around 6 or 6:30. The whole 53 is, from what I remember, it's like usually around 6 or 6:30. Starting, the Lions aren't even meeting with their players until tomorrow, because I've seen other teams already start announcing their cuts.
Right.
They're not going to start doing it until Monday and face to face. So we will probably start getting word either not from the Lions, but we might start getting either from the players or the players' agents. Those things tend to start leaking out. So we'll probably start to see that. If Za'Darius signs, Twitter is going to be on fire. And I think we might have to do an emergency pod if Za'Darius signs, just because it just makes sense. But it'll be an interesting couple days. And then even after the 53 happens on Thursday, the waivers process happens overnight, and then they can start building the practice squads on Wednesday. Things will shift all the way. We're going to be back on Thursday night live with Kurt Steele. He's going to come on. We're going to talk our 53. You're going to talk reaction to the 53s. By Thursday, we should have, it might not even be, there might be some shifting after that, but for the most part, by Thursday night, we should have a pretty good idea what the 53 is going into week 1. So that'll be interesting, and I'm looking forward to having Kurt on. I've never talked to him before, and so he's got a great show. So I'm excited to have him on.
Definitely.
So, all right, man. Do you got anything else on this 53 before we sign off for the evening?
No, I'm ready.
All right. Make sure I'll call Deanna up, say get some tissues for Jacob. He's feeling pretty bad about himself. He matched Jason. He's matching Jason's demented mind, and now you got a long.
We'll see how many we got right, and then I'll either I'm rubbing off on you and you're getting smarter, or the other way around.
I don't know about that. I will tell you though, our fantasy football league, our free one that we play, we got the draft picks. First of all, so in our league, they do this contest, and you get whoever wins, saying it's like this Royal Rumble thing they go do, and then you get whoever wins that gets to pick what pick. So it's not like the winner of it gets the first pick. The winner of it gets to pick what pick. So I picked pick number 4. First of all, what would you have picked if you got number 1?
I would have just went number 1 overall.
You just went number 1 overall.
That was interesting to me that was like the 4th or 5th pick. The 4th or 5th guy got to pick number 1 overall.
I know. It was interesting. I don't want to share my
What's the benefit of picking number 2?
Secret.
I don't understand what you're picking number 2. I don't understand, like, when, because you pick number 4, but somebody picked number 2. Why would they pick number 2 and not number 1?
Yeah. Unless you just had like 2 people and you're like, you know what? I don't care which the 2 guys I get. So then, you get to pick earlier on the other one. I picked first, and first is rough for me because you have to wait so long for that second pick. And so that's why I didn't want number 1. sometimes, like, especially if like the beginning part's off, I almost like having like 9 or 10 just because you get your second round pick right away and you can end up doing pretty good there. But I started out with 4. I have a strategy in mind. I know what your strategy is. You already told me. You picked number 5, which is right behind me. So you're going to be right before me. When one of the snakes, I'll be right before you when it snakes back around the other way. I asked you who you wanted in the first round, and who did you tell me you want?
I said Tesla. So
yeah,
hopefully,
so
I was
trying to convince me.
The bait's out there. So if you want Tesla, you better pick him first.
Pick him first. Yeah, I gotta have him on there. It's not a keeper league. No chance in hell that that's happening. But yeah, it's it'll be interesting. So Thursday we'll be back, and then the next week will be it'll be it, man. Week 1.
We'll
so
be
we'll do our
prepping for the
NFL
game.
preview. Yeah, NFL preview. We're gonna have Dusty on from the Packers. We always have him on. He's a great listen. Ironic thing about Dusty is he's a Tigers fan and a Green Bay fan. I like half of him. I hate the other half. So I guess he's just like neutral to me. But
Yeah,
he's a good guy to be on. He's fun to talk to. So I'll be looking forward to that. We're gonna be right in the middle. We're gonna be right in the middle of things. We're on two times a week. So this will be the first time we're live during the season though. And hopefully, I mean, chat's been really good today. I'm hopefully during the season we can have some live shows and have some really good fun with it.
for sure. Can't wait.
All right. I just want to shout out to a new listener, Lions fan 4399 sub. So appreciate it, man. I hope you had a good time listening to us. It's kind of shoddy right now where I don't know when we're going to go live next. Thursday for sure. So Thursday, 9:00. But if anyone out there is listening, hit the notification on YouTube. That way you get the notification when we go live. And we try to be interactive with the chat. And yeah, it's a good time. I'm glad everybody could make it. For Jacob, I'm Jason. Let's go Lions.